Hello and welcome. So I've been knitting for over 20 years. I've been crocheting for over 14 years, or around 14 years, and this is the 6th video that I have made with some tips and tricks that will help fellow crafters. Whether you're new to crafting or whether you've been doing it for a long time like me, or even longer, there might be some things that you can pick up that I've picked up along the way myself. So the first one is for an easy I-cord knit. So I know that when you're knitting an I-cord, sometimes what you'll need to do is knit the stitches and then slide them off the needle, turn them round and slide them back on again. And I am forever dropping stitches when I do anything like that. And I realised actually you can use DPNs or circular needles and you won't have to take the stitches off at all. You just knit your row and then slide them to the other end of that needle and you're starting again where you need to be. And I made, you can't quite see it properly, but I made this I-cord little wrist thing for my phone. But it was really super easy. Sometimes I forgot and I'd turn it round and then realise and have to turn it back again. But once I got into the flow, it was really easy to do that way. I had tried doing an I-cord with crochet, but again, with taking the hook out of the sort of naked stitches, I was dropping them all over the place and I can't be bothered doing things the awkward way. If I can find an easy way to do something, I absolutely will. If you can afford it, get yourself a yarn winder and a yarn swift. So if you do buy hand-dyed yarns or skeins, hanks of yarn, I'll put some pictures in here to demonstrate which ones I mean. If you buy yarn in these formats, you have to wind them into a ball yourself, and doing that by hand can take literally hours. The first time I bought yarn online that was like this, I didn't realise that it wouldn't come in a centre pull ball or or in a way that I could just use straight off the ball. I didn't have a yarn winder and I didn't have a yarn swift, so I basically had to put the yarn over the back of a chair and try and unwind it that way and then hand wind a ball. And it took me probably almost the whole afternoon. And I decided that was it. I'm going to spend the money on getting a decent swift and a decent yarn winder. I've got my yarn winder here. This is the one I use. I got it off Amazon many years ago and it's worked pretty well. I do want to at some point in the future get like a fancy wooden one, but this one works. So I'm just going to keep using this one for the time being. The yarn swift that I've got is like an umbrella plasticky one. It's currently packed away somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where it is. I can't lay my hands on it right now. It is in the house. It is in here somewhere because I saw it. I packed it into a box, but I can't remember which box that was. But anyway, that will save you having to put your yarn on the back of a chair, and because it spins, it will you can get a good rhythm going when you're caking up your yarn. They're also really good for when you have like regular balls of yarn. I don't have any to hand, they're all across the other side of the room. But you know, like a regular ball of yarn, when someone says a ball of yarn, the kind of one you think of. Again, I'll stick a picture here. Editing, it's an absolutely fantastic tool. If you want to, like if you've used a lot of the yarn already and it's starting to get a bit deflated, you can put that into a cake. Because you don't just have to wind up the fancy yarns, you can also do it with the regular yarn, because it might get a little bit tangled, or you want to have a flat cake rather than a round ball. If it's just easier to manage that way, they're really good for doing that kind of thing. Or if you're trying to combine two yarns together, like if you're having a mohair and a wool together, you can put those together on one ball so you've not got two skittering about all over the place as you try and knit with both at the same time. And if you can't afford both, I would recommend getting a winder anyway, because it's handy for putting your yarn in a flatter, more storable format, depending on how much space you've got. Yarn storage. So if you have cats or dogs or any pet that molts fur, keeping your yarn neat and tidy can be difficult. Or if you have kids as well, I forgot about that. If you've got kids, they are usually covered in some substance, depending on the age of the child. If they're under 10, they're probably sticky, wet or muddy, or a combination of all three. And if you want to keep your yarn neat and tidy and ick-free, plastic storage totes are a fantastic idea, especially the ones with like a clip-on lid, because stuff won't get in there. Also, moths won't get in there. Or if they do get in there, you can quarantine stuff. It's very, very handy to have ways of storing your yarn that aren't just out in the open. It also prevents smells from getting on things if you have a smoker in the house, or you yourself are a smoker and you do smoke indoors. It stops the yarn getting too smoky. And if you get clear ones, it's also really handy because you can see what's in there. When we moved house, half of the boxes that we packed were actually plastic totes, because my thought process was use these to move house, but then also I've got lots of yarn storage for later on. I might have too many, so they might be going up on like Facebook Marketplace or something for free if people in the area want to have some. But I find them really handy, and because they're like stackable, you can sort of stick them under furniture and out of the way in cupboards or what have you. But I think the most important thing really is keeping fur and moths out of your yarn, because I know the absolute heartbreak of pulling a ball of yarn out, starting to use it and realizing it's been mouthed and it's just a load of short strands instead of one big ball of yarn. You can use hair clips to keep your yarn tidy. Now, I don't really need hair clips very often these days, but they're fairly cheap and easy to come by. These kind of hair clips, these are the ones I mean, the ones that snap. If you have a lot of yarn that you're putting in one tote or in one bag, for example, and you don't want it to all get tangled up, because like headphones, if you leave yarn perfectly still for more than 5 minutes, it will find a way to tangle itself around something else. So what I do is, where the end is, you can just see the end there, I clip it. I might, depending on if the yarn is a bit slippery or if I'm worried about it coming out of that bit of the clip, I might tie it around the clip and then clip it on. And I found it's a really good way of keeping the yarn neat and tidy when it's in storage. In fact, this one's got 2 on it. Well, there's one hiding under there. Because that's the outside of the ball of yarn and that's coming from the inside. So it keeps it super tidy. I did write this down when I had hair, but I have shaved my hair off since. So I have used these in the past. I have had hair. I've just decided to have a much shorter look. It's much more manageable in this weather. Thank you for watching. If you would like to find me elsewhere, the link to my link tree is in the doobly-doo. Bye for now.